Welcome to One-on-One on God 101. I'm your host, Julie Chen Moonves. Our guest today is America's favorite house guest, officially America's favorite house guest, not once, but twice, Jeff Schroeder from Big Brother 11 and Big Brother 13. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you so much for having me, Julie. Something about your voice, Julie, it triggers something internally with me. I don't know what, from being in that house like an experiment, I just get nervous.
You should. By the way, when you said the word trigger, I'm like, that's not a good thing. It's like, oh no, I don't blame you. It's tough in that Big Brother house.
It's very tough, but wow, 11 and 13 seems like a lifetime ago. It was a lifetime ago, to be honest.
And this summer, we're starting season 25. We have some catching up to do. People should
Yes.
know you and I have kept in touch over the years because you've interviewed me for
Yes.
various shows that you've been the host of.
Yeah.
We'll get all that. But first, God. I ask all our guests the same question. The same first question, which is, did you grow up with faith and having God in your life?
I did. So I grew up Catholic. I went to CCD. You have to do that till you're in eighth grade. Got my confirmation and all that. So I grew up with God. It was part of like where I grew up, very Italian neighborhood, very European neighborhood where I grew up, just right outside Chicago. And so God has always been in my life. And strangely, I've kind of fallen away from going to church, like the every Sunday type thing. Me and my Jordan's not Catholic, right? She's just Christian. So we've been going to her church, going to my church. We go on the holidays and things like that. But every day, something that people might not know about me, for a long time, even when I was in the Big Brother house, I pray every night before I go to bed. And strangely enough, when I'm in my sauna, which I purchased over COVID, right? So I love doing that. And it's kind of like my own little confessional. So I do a lot of praying in there as well.
So this is the first time people who know you are hearing that, wow, Jeff Schroeder prays nightly.
Nightly, yeah. I have a lot to be thankful for. I even brought a little cross with me that I got at the Vatican, and I got blessed when I was there, when I was early 20s. I brought that into the Big Brother house with me.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I did. So it's just now it's something personal to me. I don't like to put my religion onto people because for some reason it's taboo to almost talk about these days, and somehow got mixed up politically. But it's something that I really do believe in, and it just helps me in my day to day.
Well, that's why this show exists, because I agree with you. It's sad to me that it is taboo in a lot of places, but it is not taboo. It's the opposite here.
Yes, yeah. So that's great. It's great. It's perfect. Perfect spot to talk about.
All right. I have a few questions. When did you start praying nightly?
I want to say in my 20s, maybe. I'm 44 now, Julie, which is crazy. But I want to say in my 20s. I think I was a little confused when I was in my 20s, didn't really know who I was, right? I went to LA to be an actor, came home, I felt like a failure. And I think my boss somehow got me on the right path of like being motivational, and somehow that transferred into religion for me, right? It was kind of hand in hand. So every night I was telling myself something to be thankful for. And then during the day, my boss was like trying to motivate me, just in my personal life, not even so much with work, but just motivating me as a person because he knew me since I was like 16. And he's like, you kind of fell off that path. And that's where I kind of went back on.
Wow, praise God. Now, when you say your boss, then was that when were you selling insurance when you went into Big Brother house?
A telemarketer. Yeah, I was doing telemarketing.
And was it that boss
It
who
was that boss, yeah, Dave Deeney. I always give him thanks, right? He would say, "Listen, I want you to sit in my office and listen for 4 hours to this motivational tape. I'll pay you, and then for 4 hours you go back on the phones." And it did help me in my work life, doing that business, which I really did not like, but it taught me a lot of lessons. And he motivated me to do whatever I wanted in life, not work, but he really struck a chord with me, and I brought that into the Big Brother house with me for sure.
let's talk about that. So then when you were in the Big Brother house, I'm just finding out you brought in this cross with you.
Yeah.
What was your prayer life like in the Big Brother house season 11, the time you met Jordan, your now wife?
Yeah. Crazy, right? Isn't that so crazy? I just would, kind of the same thing. I keep it to every night, and I kind of been doing the same thing. I pray, for my family that's, not with us anymore, and my family and friends that are with us now. My new family, I just want health for my new family, my sons and my wife. So I do that nightly, and I didn't have obviously my family at that time. So shortly before I went into the Big Brother house, both of my grandmothers passed away, right? So I felt like part of me getting Big Brother was my grandmother somehow looking on and helping me, right? Kind of gets me a little emotional, but I believe in that.
I feel that is
Yeah.
your world changed after Big Brother 11.
Yeah. Completely upside down, right? It was part of my dreams to be in TV, right? But, that was something else, but it kind of got me on the path to the career that I have now, right? So it was kind of a stepping stone throughout the years, the reality TV, but getting me on the path to where I'm at now.
And where you're at now is you are on a panel talk show in Denver.
Yes. Yeah. It's called Daily Blast Live. We've been going on for 5+ years, going on to our sixth season. And Julie, I have to thank you for a lot of this, my success, because not only were you a friend, but a mentor to me. And you'd always come on, do the Big Brother after show, where I started in that little closet in Television City studio. It was so, I remember that little closet. You'd come in there and everyone was like, oh my God, I can't believe Julie's coming. This is embarrassing. But that's where I started, and you over the years was always made yourself available to me, and such a great friend to me, I think, over the years.
You are welcome, but I got to give the glory to God. I mean, it was God's plan for you.
I
There are no
think so.
mistakes.
I
Yeah.
think so.
And I have to thank you because well, let me just do the shortcut version, which is when I came on. So you got hired by CBS to do this after show.
Right.
You were typically talking to people who got evicted from the show.
Right.
And then you interview me, and you and your producers were so kind to me in that, I come on to these shows and they go, thank you. They send me on their way. It was so sweet. You all gifted me an HOH Road.
Yeah, you remember that. That's right.
Even though I had been hosting since we started, no one has ever given me an HOH robe except for you and your whole team there. So I still have it and wear it.
That's awesome. My team there was so great. I loved working with them. I still miss them. I talk about it. I keep in touch with everybody I worked with on that little show. So, but yeah, thank you so much for being there all the time. And I remember, I don't know if you remember, but my boss was so excited. He got you these little candies, and it was called Butt First candies. Remember that? And we were so excited. We're like, this is perfect for Julie. They were like, I forgot what they were, but they're like little gummy bear candies or something.
I vaguely remember. I want to say I'm probably wrong. Being north of 50 years old, not everything comes back to me. I want to say maybe they were those hearts you get on Valentine's Day, but you're probably right that they were gummies.
Yeah, I think they were. I forgot the name of I just remember they said "butt first" on them. That's all we remember. Yeah.
Have you noticed since Big Brother, everybody is trying to say like, but first coffee, but first Dunkin' Donuts. I'm like, Big Brother, but first something on Big Brother. Like, you can't copyright that. It's words.
Yeah. I was just going to say you should, but I guess you can't.
You can't. I mean, that's why I always start this program asking you, but first, God.
Yes.
Because I've learned in my own faith walk, you got to put God in first place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. At least in my life, it really is first in my life. I don't know. It's weird to say to people again, and I'm not trying to push religion on people, but to me, it's almost like God's my therapist, right? I could say whatever I want to him. He'll forgive me from my wrongdoings. He teaches me from the wrong that I did in my past to put me, again, I'm saying this, it's kind of becoming cliche in this conversation, but onto the right path, because I could very easily stray, throughout my life. I did bad things, but then corrected them. And now I'm thankful that for the bad things, because those are the biggest lessons in my life, and then I can teach to my children, hopefully, to not do.
You nailed it, Jeff. I mean, when you say God is like your therapist, it's actually biblical, where he is referred to as many names, but one of them is Wonderful Counselor.
That's right. That's perfect.
It really is. So, yes, and this is not about pushing religion on anyone. It's, at least from my heart, praying that the peace that I think we all crave and the hope that we all need to live with, is found in everyone having their own personal relationship
A
with the divine.
100%. I think it is a personal relationship. To one person, this is what God means to them. To me, this is what God to me is my friend, right? I could tell him anything. I could make a joke about him, right? But there is this still the respect level that I have to show, right?
Yes, like, by the way, God has a sense of humor. That's why he gave us children, right?
That's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah. So
Because you and Jordan have 2 boys, and they're how old now?
6 and 4.
Oh my goodness.
I know. It's crazy. They're getting so big. Now I feel like there's before, the BC means before kids for me, or BK, I should say. That'd be before Christ, but so BK, before kids.
But by the way, that's what makes you lovable, Jeff, being that you just speak, you're like not trying to, you just said BC, it's funny, I get it.
Yeah.
We all know kids, but
Right.
that's funny, I get it.
Yeah.
How about before children?
Before children. Oh, there you go. There we go. So I didn't screw up.
Um, did you ever, since you grew up Catholic and having to go to religious instruction and all that, did you ever stray because it was not forced upon you, but when you're young, it's not your choice.
Oh yeah, I hated going to CCD. To be honest with you, I hate it because it was you go to school and then once a week you'd have to go to CCD after school. So I'm like, school's done, and all my friends went to a different church. So I was kind of out on my own. Like where we lived was a border. You have to go to a certain church, a certain high school. So all my friends went to a different one. They still went to CCD, right? But I was like, man, now I have to go to another school and do this again for a couple hours. And I was always like scared, and I don't know.
Now that you're 44 and you look back, do you regret any of it?
No,
Or
I'm thankful for it. I mean, again, I'd say, the biggest lessons I have are the mistakes that I make, but sometimes the biggest lessons you have are things you don't want to do. But then you get through and you're like, hey, you know what? I accomplished that and I did something and now I have something to show for it. That was kind of like my church, right? It was like I didn't want to do it at the time, but now I feel like I owe everything to God in that part of my life, right?
Jeff, from where I'm sitting, you really have such a great head on your shoulders. And anyone who has watched you from Big Brother 11 and see all the blessings now
Yeah.
and that you pray nightly, why wouldn't someone pray nightly? Why wouldn't someone just talk to, forget about prayer, that word can be intimidating. Just talking to God.
Yeah. Hold yourself accountable as well, right?
Oh, yes. Someone once said, oh, I can't hear God. And I said, I promise you, you can. Ask God what he doesn't like about you and sit quiet. Because people say it's my conscience or my gut. No, I think that's God telling you. Ask God, like, what don't you like about me, God? And suddenly you're going to hear things. And people don't want to hear
Yeah.
everything because it's like their conscience. They want to do what might be easy rather than, narrow is the road, right? Jesus says, narrow is the road back to him. It's not going to be easy, but it's worth it.
It is worth it. And you get forgiveness every night. And every night I do look at my mistakes throughout the day. If it's something that I did, I acknowledge it and say, hey, you know what? I want to be better tomorrow. That's all I say every night. I want to be better tomorrow, better father, a better friend, a better coworker, a better husband. That's what I say every night. And I thank God that he gives me the tools so he doesn't have to look over me constantly. I say, God, thank you for the tools you give me to build the olden rungs in my ladder so I could climb to the top on my own. I need your help, but there's other things in the world that you should be looking at, right?
As we end this episode, we've got 20 seconds left. I just want to say, God bless you, Jeff Schroeder, Godspeed, and thank you.
Thank you, Julie, for everything, not just this, but everything. God bless you.
You're welcome.